Welcome, friends. Today we're gonna do a nice stretch class with some core work. You need props though. You're gonna need a strap. You're gonna need probably blocks or books and a blanket or towel. So strap, you could use a belt. You could use a bathrobe if you don't have a yoga strap. So we improvise. All right, so we're gonna actually start in child's pose. So let's get to the back of your mat. Knees a little bit wider than the hips to make room for your chest. Let's do an extended child's pose where I'm gonna bring my arms out in front of me and I'm gonna let my chest just drop towards the mat. Forehead to the mat. Shoulders are gonna kind of draw in towards your ears. And you're gonna just take and pause just for a couple breaths here before we start to move. So as you exhale, let your hips reach towards your heels. So your sit bones are almost touching, maybe even touching your heels. You can press into the palms of your hands and push down and back. So you can make this active while you're letting your body find some stillness and letting your breath steady out a bit. Try to get your shoulders to really let go and release. So if you're pressing down on your hands, just release that for now and just let everything go as much as you can. Take a couple breaths and let that back body rise and fall with the in and the out breath. And just let that pressure on your forehead just kind of remind you to let all the thoughts just trickle down on your mat like a snow globe, right? Settling and getting still. Everything is just finding its place, kind of prepping ourselves to move. So the next time you take a nice deep inhale, start to shift your hips side to side and then start to kind of rock on your forehead side to side. And then, just let your breath kind of find its own rhythm here as we start to move. You're going to walk your hands now, both hands over to the right, and you're going to move your hips over to the left. Take your left hand and stack it on your right hand. And again, let the forehead just drop between the arms. So you should feel a nice side stretch going down the left side of your body. If you don't, bring your hips to the left a little bit more. Reach your fingers to the right a little bit more. Your next inhale, we're going to take it back through center and make our way over to the left. Again, you're going to take your right hand on top of your left hand. Your head is going to go right in between your arms, and your hips are going to go over towards the right. So you'll feel that side stretch all the way on your right side, from your shoulder to all the way to your hip. A couple more breaths here. Yeah, just kind of let the breath settle in to the movement, right? Find the ease in the discomfort. That's the aim. And then we're going to walk ourselves back to center. Look at your hands, press down on the palms, and then come to tabletop. So we're going to set ourselves up for tabletop. My knees are going right under my hips, and my wrists are taking a straight line under my shoulders. Now, I like to find the width of my table by letting the middle fingers touch. So I turn my fingers or my hands in and my middle fingers touch. That should be the width of your table. So again, here we're going to take some sway side to side. Your back should be neutral. We're going to find a C spine. So next time you come over to the left, stop and get your left hip to meet your right shoulder. Make a nice C with the spine. And then as you inhale, come back to center. Let's do the same thing on the other side. hip to shoulder, come back to center. So we're gonna make some circles on the wrist. Let's go left, forward, right, back. A few circles on the wrist on one side, and then we'll go to the other side. So we'll take it left, forward, right, back, or right, forward, left, back. And then we'll find center again. Now we're gonna take these fingers and turn them outwardly, so they point towards the edges of your mat. We're gonna go side to side here, get into the wrist that way. And then turn the fingers to point towards your knees. Okay, hold that, might be a little bit uncomfortable, right? So again, let's just try to sit in the discomfort as much as we can. Meet the edge of it, meet the edge of it. So when you have that urge to pull away, just see if you can sit for a little bit longer. So let's shift the hips back. You should be feeling this in your wrist all the way up your forearm. So shift the hips back, pressing into the paddings of the fingers. Hold just for 2 breaths here. I know it's not super fun, but these are the things we need to do to open up the body, increasing the health span of our body, right? All these muscles and joints, okay. And then we come back to our fingers pointing towards the front of the mat. Let's inhale and take a nice cow back here. So I'm gonna bring my tailbone up. Now my shoulders are reaching back, my shoulder blades are coming together, and my chin is going up towards the sky, lovely sky here today. And then we're gonna exhale, we're gonna round into our cat where I tuck my tail, my chin's going to my chest, my forehead's going towards my tailbone, and my shoulder blades are spreading apart a lot. We're gonna take 2 more rounds like that. Big inhale into your cow, drop the belly, tailbone up. You should feel a nice stretch through your navel here. If you drop the belly as much as you can, and then as you exhale, upper back should now be opening up. And you're tucking the navel towards your spine and your tailbone. And then we inhale 1 more round, take it to your cow. And then exhale to your cat. We're gonna find a nice neutral spine here. So right in between your cat and cow, where your spine is totally neutral, you're gonna take your right arm up, press into the left arm to lift you without shifting your hips back. So be mindful that you keep that shoulder over your wrist. All right, so we're gonna try to get the elbow in line with the shoulder, the wrist in line with the elbow. Press your heart towards the back. Try to be mindful of your hips so they're not shifting in every direction, right? So you wanna keep them square, left in line with the right. Now let's reach the fingertips back behind us and then swoop them down and up, making some really big circles here. So we're gonna take an inhale, swoop the fingertips forward and up, and then as we exhale, take it down. And inhale forward and up, exhale back and down. A couple more times. You could take your head to follow, gaze following the fingertips. Last one, inhale, hold, and then as you exhale, we're gonna thread that arm through. So right arm is gonna thread through the left arm. Be careful not to sink those hips back. You wanna keep the hips in line with the knee. That means you have weight in your left wrist. Reach the right hand as much as you can so the right shoulder is right under the left shoulder. If you can, place your right ear on the mat and be careful of those hips. Try not to sit in the left hip. Again, stay nice and square. So we are reaching, we're making sure our hips line up. They're not reaching back. They're staying square. Our right shoulder is right under our left shoulder. Next time we inhale, we're gonna push into that left hand and come right back into our hands and knees. Make some circles on those wrists. One direction, and then circles the other direction. We're gonna find center, press into our right hand and lift the left arm up. Press into the right hand, lift the left one as high as you can, keeping those hips nice and square. Now we're gonna reach the fingertips back behind us
and then take them down. Inhale, bring them back up. And then exhale, reach them back and down. Inhale, forward and up. Couple more circles like that, keeping everything still. The only thing that's working is that shoulder. Next time we bring it up, we're gonna hold. Press into the right hand to lift out of it even more, and then we're gonna exhale, thread it through. Reach the left arm under the right arm. Right arm is gonna come all the way up. Or actually, no, we didn't do that on the other side. Keep your right hand down and make sure the hips stay nice and square. Hips are staying square, right? So we're not leaning into that right hip. Left hip lines up with the right. Weight is on the shoulder more than anything. But if your neck feels really crunched here, make sure you put it on a blanket or a block or something. And then we're pressing into the right hand and we're coming up back into our hands and knees. Let's make some big circles, bigger circles now where you're coming forward over the wrists and you're reaching the hips back. We'll do a few in one direction and then we'll switch the direction going to the other way. So hips back to the side and then forward. And then when we find stillness, we're going to curl the toes under. We're going to have a seat on our heels. Okay, so this might be as far as some of you might be able to go here, and that's okay. It depends on how open your quadriceps are and your ankles, really. So, you know, you find your place of discomfort and you meet it and you stay there. You know, some of you might be able to go onto your heels and sit there. You might even be able to go past it and kind of lean back a little bit. But you are meeting your edge. You're going to sit in that space of discomfort and you're going to, you know, experience that. And, you know, it is true that when we bring our attention and our focus to the pain or to the hurt and we sit with it and we don't run from it, it oftentimes dissipates. It's not as painful as if we were trying to run and avoid and distract, right? So there's only a point, there's a limit to that, right? Because I think we might be reaching the limit here where we can't take it anymore. We're gonna be there for just 2 more breaths. Promise we'll get out of it, I promise. Okay, now we untuck and we sit on the heels. We try to keep our feet straight. So don't pigeon toe, meaning don't bring your toes in and your heels out. Try to keep them lined up. So we're gonna lean back, hands on the mat behind you, or you could put them on blocks. Lean back a little bit and get a nice stretch in your quad. So you might even be able to go onto your elbows here, but your knees are gonna press down. And if they start to open up, you're gone too far. You wanna keep the knees in line with each other. And, you know, pressing down, in line and pressing down. If you want, if you have it in you, you can come all the way onto your back. I think I'm gonna fall off my platform here, so I'm not gonna attempt it. But I'm gonna come right back up. And then we're gonna work the ankles a bit by lifting the knees. So it might be just a little tiny lift that you have in you. Or you might have a big lift. Also, you know, an option here is to put your ankles on a blanket. So it gives you a little more distance between the floor and if you have a big arch in the front of your ankle, just put it on a blanket and that will help. Another breath and we release. Okay, inhale to kneeling. Let's take those arms out and up, interlace the fingers above your head, press the palms up, pinky fingers back. We're tucking the tail a little bit so that the tailbone is reaching for the mat. So there's length in the low back. Now we're gonna take a big breath in and then as you exhale, we're gonna side lean over to the right, but we're not gonna move our hips over to the left. The hips stay lined up. Arms straighten up a lot and they stay nice and framed. Now you want to try to get that right shoulder to kind of come forward a little bit as the left shoulder goes back, and then maybe you peek behind your left or in front of your left armpit. Chin's going towards the left armpit. Now I'm going to take my left hip all the way over. And then I'm going to take my shoulders to face the mat. Shoulders are going to face the mat. And I'm going to come back to that side child's pose, where my left hand is going to come on top of my right hand. And I'm going to reach my hips over to the left. Right back to where we were. Next, inhale, interlace those hands again. Frame the head, straighten the arms, and then come right back up where the shoulders are stacking, one on top of the next. To kneel. Big breath in, exhale over to the left. Again, my arms are super straight. My hips are staying in line with my knees to start. Okay, I'm going to try to keep my shoulders stacking, one in line with the other. I'm going to peek over my right, so my chin is kind of placing itself near the armpit. My gaze is going in front of my right arm. Now I'm going to take my hips over to the right a little bit more. Arms are super straight. Then I'm going to take my shoulders and they're going to look at the mat. And I'm going to make my way to that side child's pose again, where my right hand is stacked on top of my left. My hips are going to the right. My chin's going to the chest. I'm going to be here for 2 breaths. Then I interlace the fingers again, palms push out, head is framed, my shoulders are stacking as I come right back to where I was. Take a big deep breath in, and then as I exhale, I tuck the tail, and I find a back bend. I lift out of it, I get long. My back bend is coming from the upper back, shoulder blades. I'm not bringing my hips forward for this. Not today. Today we're gonna keep the hips in line with our knees, and we're keeping our tailbone tucked. Big breath in. As we exhale, we let our hands float. Whoa, that felt like a lot of work with the arms, right? Okay, we're gonna take our right foot and we're gonna step it forward. Yeah, we're gonna bring our hips forward and we're gonna frame our foot. So we might need blocks to help us here. And you have to pay attention to the ankle because you want that lined up with the knee. So heel should be down. If you're over here with the heel up, no bueno, non è buono, no. We're gonna keep the heel down and lined up with the knee. So we're letting the hips drop forward and get a nice stretch in your hip flexor. We're gonna maybe rock a bit side to side here. Breathe. And then we're gonna take the right arm up without shifting the hips back. Right arm up, we're taking our twist. I'm gonna take a big inhale here, and as I exhale, I'm gonna reach my fingertips back behind me. I'm gonna keep following my hand with my gaze, take it forward. Inhale back up and back, exhale down and forward. This time as I bring it back, I'm gonna flex my hand and then flex my foot, push the heel of that foot into my hand. If I cannot reach my foot, right, you're not going back to try to reach it, keeping your hips forward. You're just trying to get the heel towards your hand, even if you can't touch it. So you gotta contract the quads a little bit to get it over there. Contract the hamstrings, stretch the quads, contract the hamstrings, yeah. And push and work and work and work. And then you release that contraction. Grab a hold of the ankle or the foot and then pull it in. And you might wanna go deeper here where your elbow comes onto the mat. You're gonna pull it in. You're gonna try to get your right shoulder to stack your left over your left shoulder. Look behind that right shoulder. And again, we're meeting our discomfort. We're gonna sit in it. We're gonna be here for a solid 5 breaths. Try not to collapse into your left shoulder. Push into that left elbow to come out of it a bit. Lift, pull, keep pulling it in. Once it starts getting tolerable, it's a nice thing. It's a beautiful thing because it'll get there. You'll start to be, your body will start to accommodate. You're gonna pull it in a little bit more. Yeah. And we're gonna take 2 more breaths here. And then you're gonna release it. Hands are gonna frame that foot again and you're gonna straighten it and you're coming into a half split. So you might need blocks here again. Now remember, there are 3 levels of these blocks, right? You decide which one you want, which one you need. We're gonna find our sweet spot where hands are going forward, our hips are going back. You could tuck the left toes under to find a little more balance. Hands forward, hips back, you drop over that leg and you fold. Shoulders towards the ears, chin towards the chest, forehead towards the knee. Keep yourself lined up nice and square. So you're gonna try to pull the right hip back into its socket. So if you're looking back, you should see those squares, those hips lined up. You don't want one in front of the other. They should be totally square. 3 more breaths. And 2. Each time you exhale, go a little bit deeper. And 1. Bend the knee. And we're gonna come up here, keeping the hips forward. Maybe you untuck the foot and start to imagine the legs coming together to meet in the middle. So you want to feel like your right leg is coming in and your left leg is coming in towards center. So your left leg is going forward and your right leg is going back. That's the kind of traction, contracting your right hamstring, your left hip flexor. While you're stretching, use your hands to press the tailbone down and a little bit of a back bend here. Big breath in. Next time you exhale, shift the hips back and bring the knee to kneeling. We're gonna do some circles before we do the other side. Circle it one direction, circle it the other direction. Left leg comes forward. Shift those hips forward. Right? Again, line up the ankle with the knee. Hands are coming to the mat. You're gonna inhale, left arm up. Press into the right to get really long. And then reach, couple circles. You're going down, forward, and up. And inhale, down, forward, and up. Next time you take it back, flex the hand, palm and heel are gonna meet, and you're really gonna press into it. Press and press and press. Grab a hold of the ankle or the tops of your foot and come onto your elbow. If that's available to you, make sure left knee stays in track with the left hip. Look back behind you, keep pulling it in. Again, I know this is not a comfortable place to be, but you know, good things happen in those spaces. You know, life happens outside your comfort zone. I'm sure we've heard that before. Right? So outside the comfort zone, when we get challenged, when we get stressed, when we get forced to look at things differently head on, that's when the magic happens. So let yourself be in the magic here. Just know that the magic is happening. Just tell yourself that, and it'll be a little more tolerable. Okay, we're gonna release it, and as soon as we do, framing that foot again, and we're gonna shift the hips back to our half split. So all those things apply on this side too. Everything I said. Chin to chest, forehead's going towards the knee, shoulders are going towards the ears. I'm looking at my hips and making sure my left hip is plugged in, so it's going back. My right hip's kind of going forward. And I breathe for 3, for 2, even a little bit deeper. Flex that foot here so you can get a little more of a calf stretch. And then bend the left knee again. Let's bring our hands onto our hips. Find a bit of a back bend, so we got a balance here, right? A little bit of a challenge. Hey, we did all that foot ankle work. So use that foot if you need to help your balance. That's why we work those feet. Right, to help with the foundation. Okay, and then we come to center and left knee meets the right knee. All right, we're gonna curl the toes under here. We're gonna have a seat on our heels, and we're gonna lift our knees and come into perch. So we're gonna try to balance, just a couple of breaths. Hands are gonna come to your heart. Again, working those ankles, right? Like I said, that's the foundation, the feet. The feet matter. We need flexibility in the toes, the arches, the ankles. So it keeps us balanced. Everything starts from there. Now, the next time we exhale, you're just gonna come to a fold. Bring the feet to the mat and fold. So make sure everything lines up. Fill yourself in space here. Ankles lining up with the knees, knees lining up with the hips. So you might feel like your weight is shifted a little more forward than you would like.
but that's where you need to be to get everything in alignment. Shoulders towards your ears, chin towards your chest, forehead towards your knees. We're going to roll it up one vertebrae at a time. Last to come up is your head, and the arms are going to float out to the side. You're going to interlace the fingers, palms up. Tuck the tail. Keep the ribs in so they're not splaying out. We're going to keep the hips lined up, so don't bring the hips forward, find a back bend. Maybe throw the head back a little bit. And then when you come to center, arms super straight, you're going to exhale over to the right. Now we're not shifting the hips over to the left at all. They're staying lined up. As tempting as it is to go over and go into a deeper side bend, we're going to just work the upper body. And then inhale back to center, and we're taking it over to the left on your exhale. And again, you could do the little peek, chin towards your armpit, peek in front of that right arm. Inhale, back to center. You're going to release and dive it forward through a nice flat back, fingertips to the mat. Walk yourself to the center of the mat here, and then bend those knees, come back to your perch. Have a seat and fold. Fold over those legs. Let everything go. Now, if you have a strap handy, you could hook it at your foot if you can't grab your foot. And you're going to take it up. Nice and long. As you exhale, pull that leg in closer to your body. As you inhale, get the body nice and long. Now we're going to grab a hold of the straps, both straps with the left hand. You're going to take your right hand out. If you don't need a strap, you just grab the foot. Right hand out, open it up. Plug the arm into its socket. Big breath in. And then as you exhale, come back to center, and let's do an open twist here. Left arm is going out. You're lifting out of this, getting nice and long. Plugging the arms into their socket. And then as you exhale, come back to center. We're going to cradle the baby. Give this baby some love. So I like to put that foot into the nook of my elbow, and then my other elbow grabs a hold of my knee and pulls it in. If you don't have that level of flexibility, you could use your hands and pull it in that way. And you breathe. Give that baby love, because this baby works hard. It works hard every day. We're going to bend the left knee, and we're going to place the ankle on the thigh. And fingertips are going to point back behind us, and we're pressing our body in towards the legs. Let the knee open up, chin to chest, forehead towards the shin. Breathe here, come into your little cocoon. Find some safety here in this space. And back to the space of comfort, your own inner. You know, every time you pause, you close the eyes, you just come right back to that place. And inhale, come up, and then we're gonna take it over to the left. So right foot is gonna root down. I'm gonna take my left arm up, and I'm gonna hook it onto that thigh and find a twist here. Nice and deep. Look over my right shoulder. Maybe I counter that twist and look over my left shoulder. And then I come back to center. I'm going to extend the left leg out in front of me. Extend the right leg out in front of me. I'm going to take a big inhale. I'm going to get nice and long. I'm going to interlace the fingers, palms up. Hinge first. Hinge, arms super straight, and they're reaching back. So I'm not really waterfalling yet. I'm just kind of hinging at the hips, keeping my back as flat as possible, reaching my arms back behind me. Big breath in, and then I exhale and I fold all the way. I'm gonna grab a hold of my left leg, either with the strap or my hands. I'm gonna pull it up. Get really long. Big inhale, big exhale. Then hold it with the right hand. Take the left arm back behind you and find your twist. Look behind and see what's going on. Anything exciting in that
part of your mat. And then we'll take it back to center. And we'll open twist to the right. Fingertips behind you, leg nice and straight. And then we come back to center and cradle the baby. Pull it in, give it some love. Pull it in, elbows, holding, rocking. Couple of breaths. We're gonna bend the right knee, place the ankle on that thigh, bring your hands back behind you and press forward, chin to chest, forehead's going towards my shin. I'm letting it go here. Next inhale, I'm gonna come up and let that foot fall over to the right as my right arm comes up and hooks onto that thigh. Taking my twist, looking beyond my left shoulder, and then looking beyond my right shoulder, countering that. Open. All right, finding center again, straightening both legs. Finding Dandasana, staff pose, where I'm totally lifted, heart is open, everything lines up. This could be a hard pose, just being here, it could be hard, especially if you have low back pain. You need to like bring your hips up and sit on a blanket, that would help. That would really help. Okay, so we're gonna bend the knees here and we're gonna lift the hands. We're gonna take a big inhale, and as you exhale, we're gonna take a 10 count to make it down onto the mat. So we're gonna round into a cat back. We're already like at 8 counts here. So we're trying to get the low back to tap first. Then once the low back, then you get the middle back, and then you reach your arms all the way back behind you on your inhale. And we're gonna do this 4 more times. You're gonna exhale, roll it back up. You could use your hands if you need to. Really what matters right now is this exhale, is the going down part. So it's about tucking your tail. Low back is touching the mat. Nice and easy. Let that low back touch first, and then bring it back. Nice, 3 more. Exhale, take it up. Arms by the ears. Nice and slow. This is your exhale. Slow, slow, slow. I think I did that a little too fast. Next one's going slower, friends. Here we go. Big inhale, take it up. And then as you exhale, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, inhale up. And then exhale, slow, 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 slow. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Amazing. Interlace the fingers behind you. Press the palms out. Take a big breath in, and then as you exhale, bring your hands over, your arms over to the left, and then bring your knees over to the right. See if you could reach the hands for the mat, reach the arms for the mat. As you reach over to the left, your knees are over to the right, and you're straightening the arms as much as you can. Inhale, everything comes back to center. You're gonna exhale, first bring the arms over to the right, and then you're gonna bring the knees over to the left. And you're breathing here. Trying to work the arms as straight as you can. Inhale, back to center. So while you're here, let's start working the low back towards the mat. So we're gonna get rid of the arch in the low back. We're gonna try to press the core, the navel down towards the spine, and that's gonna cause the spine to straighten and level out. We're gonna inhale, palms up towards the sky. And then we're gonna take it back, reach it back. And exhale, take your arms up towards the sky. Inhale, keeping the low back pressed down, let's bring the arms back. Keeping the low back pressed down, let's bring the arms up. 2 more like that. Inhale, bring it back. Low back is staying the same. Exhale, bring it back up. Last one, inhale, bring it back up, back. And exhale, right back up. Beautiful. Let's bring the knees to the chest. Let's give them a hug. Nice squeeze, chin to chest, forehead towards the knees. I'm going to squeeze, maybe release the head and neck now, massage the low back side to side. You guys did a really nice, you should be feeling really nice at this point. Body is longer, muscles are longer. Endorphins kicking in. Let's grab those knees and make some circles. Right? We're going to really hone in and feel into everything we just did. Let's bring our hands or our feet to the mat and just kind of rock side to side here. Eventually, we're going to let them fall. Nice, easy supine stretch. And then come back to center and take it over to the left. Back to center, we're going to find our Shavasana. Yes, while my dog is barking, it's the joys of being outside. Nature is therapy. But sometimes it, it's a little unpredictable, right? We love to hear the sounds of the birds, the leaves rustling. It's a way of coming home, back to our origins. And Shavasana is a way of coming home back to ourselves. It is a space free of judgment, free of critique. There is no right or wrong in this space. There's no good or bad. It just is. It's a space of just being. And what does that feel like? Feels like awareness. What does awareness feel like? It feels like peace, maybe. Calm, ease. There's no expectations. No things to do, places to be. It's just experiencing. In this experiencing, in this pool of comfort, of support, of nurture, and of love. That's the space we provide ourselves throughout our practice. Especially when we come to stillness, where we can really, it's so easily, our mind wanders and takes us places. So when we find stillness, it's very much more deliberate to inhabit this space. And with that, we're going to inhale, we're going to reach our arms up and back, we're going to point our toes. On an exhale, the knees are going to come to our chest. We're going to make them, roll them over to one side and then push our way to seated. On your next inhale, let's let the arms float up. Let's throw the head back. Let's bring our hands together as they travel to heart center. We're going to bow our heads and close our practice today with love and compassion in our hearts, with calmness and clarity in our minds, and with gratitude for the teacher that operates within us and all around us. Namaste. Thank you all for joining. I hope to see you again in the next class, and I hope you're feeling much better than when you started.